All right, guys, August 9th, highlights from greatstockpicks.com. Missed yesterday. I had pressing issues, didn't get to trade yesterday, hence no wrap-up video. Today, typical August trading. These are, what do we have here? 60-minute candles. You can kind of see a channel, a loosely drawn channel there. And the dates are down here. Look at the narrow range the last couple days. Here's the last couple days down here. See that range? Not a great couple days for trading because the SPY market, in other words, just moving sideways. So only had a few calls today, and I'll be happy to go over them here. NUS, let's go to the daily. NUS was on watch. Let me zoom in a little bit here because down several days in a row, big volume, down to support. So we had it on bounce watch, and it looked just like this when I called it long this morning. I gave a warning that, hey, this is a incredibly whippy stock, so be careful, trade small. But I called it over this candle. I said if it got over this little green candle here, and we'll put the stop below this little green candle here. All right, and my thinking was, strong early, but if this thing can get through its early high, which it established right here, 43.35, if it can get through that, they might pile in because it's so oversold, and it's definitely overdue for a bounce. So over this candle, stop below this candle made sense to me. 43.04, stop 30 cents below, and there's the trigger, and then we get through the high of the day just like we were hoping, and before you know it, 43.04, we were at 43.80. So it doesn't look like much of a move, but I'm scaling out into this, and I kept a third and killed the last third when it came right back down here to my entry. So it still had a nice little trade. The last third was a flat, but not too bad. It ended up being, like I said, it's really choppy, coming back up to the high of the day, and then a big push down, and then all the way through the high. Never did make another trade in it, though. So anyway, not a bad way to start the day. KB Homes, I noticed that home builders were strong early. Other home builders were pushing to new highs. KB Homes, KBH had this very tight base. I don't usually call high of day breaks, but when I looked at the daily chart, remember this was about 1060 at the time. I looked over here to the left. You had kind of a potential breakout at 1077 over the early July highs. Okay, so when you go back to how this looked when I called it, my entry idea was 1062 over this base. Will probably get us to that 1077 area and maybe some more upside through that. So the beauty of it was a 1062 trigger and a stop 7 cents below, and we got a nice move to 1091, 29-cent move. It's not huge, but there was money to be had anywhere in here as far as profits go. I got trail stopped on the rest on this red candle. Okay, so again, nothing huge. And then I did have one call that did not work. DRI. This wasn't so much based on the charts as it was, okay, it looked like this when I mentioned it. EAT, Brinkers, I think it is a restaurant chain that was breaking out today. So I thought it might bring DRI with it. So you had kind of consecutive lower highs here, a little pennant, if you will. That's not the one I want. Let's try that again. Had a little pennant, if you will, here. And my thinking was if it takes out this red candle's high, it should get through the high of the day and maybe follow EAT. All right, I'll show you EAT in just a second. So my long idea, I believe, was 53.69, 53, I can't remember. 53, I don't have it in front of me. Maybe I do. Okay, I found it. 53.69, 53.47 stop. And I believe this was the trigger. And it kind of broke that pennant. EAT stopped the breakout at the time, kind of slowed down, and it just couldn't get going. So there was a stop out right there. Here is EAT, and at the time, picture this, EAT was, I think, pushing up right here maybe. It was around 34.60. If you look at the daily, not hard to see that EAT had nice volume and was in breakout territory. Just thought it might bring the other restaurants with it, and it didn't work. So, oh yeah, late in the day, OMEX, believe it or not, I don't usually trade stocks this thin, but I love the story on this stock, and called it at, I think it looked like this at the time. I called it at 391, thinking we'd get our high of day break, and this was more based on the story of the company than it was. I figured if we started printing new highs, it might get going because, well, I won't go into it. If you know OMEX, Odyssey Marine, you know that they're getting ready to bring in a second load of silver, and there's a lot of anticipation into how much it's going to be. So I was right in my theory. 391 right through the high of the day and a quick move to 404. That doesn't seem like much, but not a bad percentage move, and we were selling into the spike. So kept a few to see if it was going to really rip, and it didn't. It just kept sideways. So I killed the rest near the end of the day, and that's the entire day. So August trading, not so exciting, but you know what? Sometimes you just got to be there, and an opportunity can come out of nowhere. Wait, I just thought of one more. Mad at myself because I didn't take this trade. Best Buy, BBY. Whenever I see a stock doing this, I become extremely interested. When you are watching the market, okay, and the market is chopping around in a narrow range like this for hours at a time, I keep telling our members, when you see something like this, hey, you've got a gift. And I had this on the projector, and the thinking to a trade like this goes like this. Whenever you have this many 5-minute candles going down, and then you start to get a longer one than the ones preceding it, okay, see the difference in range of this 5-minute candle versus the ones preceding it, see the volume? Whenever I have that, I go to a lower time frame candle, kind of like an x-ray technique, to look inside this 5-minute candle and see if I can find a turn. I went to ones. I had this on the projector and was showing everybody the first break of a previous 1-minute candle's high might be a nice grab, and plenty of our members got it. I got a lot of thank you. So 1870, 1858 stop, and for whatever reason I managed to skillfully miss this myself, but from 1870 all the way to whatever this is, 1936, and really pretty quickly up to over 19. So nice little trade. And was never really in danger. Was never in danger of being underwater right after the grab. So there's a kind of a little brief synopsis, if you will, of how I like to play intraday bottoms, or try to catch an intraday bottom on a passionate sell-off like that. You oftentimes get a nice snapback, and Best Buy no exception there. All right, so that was it. That was all the calls from the day. All-Star Stephen B had several good calls. I didn't do a good job today of copying it and putting it in my notes, and to share those. I like to give credit to the All-Stars as well, but only if I can remember the calls that they made and share them with you. And so since I don't, but he was doing well again today. So anyway, I'll quit babbling, and we'll talk to you guys later.